1.
Frequency 43. 2020, like that vision I got. Can we take a moment to realize all these thoughts on Instagram, just virtue signaling lives matter, but I don't know, are they actually doing the work, or are they just showing the world that they care about it, you know? Are they treating people like, I don't know. I'm a little upset about it, as you can tell in my
Are they
voice.
going to forget about it?
I just think they're like, where was all this shit before the guy died? You know, like, now everyone cares about it because everyone. Where was the love? Where was the love a month ago? That's all I had to say to start the podcast. Welcome if you're a first time listener. Tie your shoes, take a bong rip, and just listen, because there's going to be some subliminal messages that you're really going to have to pay attention to in this podcast.
Cheers to that one, right?
Cheers.
I'll drink to that. Cheers, boys.
Yeah, seems like a solid reason to drink.
Yeah, I'd agree with John. I'd say right now is the perfect time for people to be empty posted, because they can always just say, man, I didn't go to a protest because of coronavirus, but I believe in the cause.
That's how I personally feel. But
it's not a bad reason, because you can be scared of coronavirus.
But it's not well respected.
Yeah, it's really not.
It's not well respected.
I don't know though. I mean, I think it's pretty well respected. What do people say? Like, not everyone, you know, some people have old parents, some people have grandparents in the house. There's risks that you can't.
It is.
You want to know?
I think it's completely valid.
You want to know what I think's really dumb though?
Yeah.
That we shut down this whole economy, and we inject $3 trillion into our economy for this whole entire coronavirus situation. Everybody's forced to stay home from work and all this shit, and then we literally do all of that, and then we fuck it all up by going out in the thousands into these crowds.
Seriously.
Protesting. Like, what? We just did all of that?
It's such a fucking double standard, because there's some black entrepreneurs that can't sell their product right now because of the coronavirus, but then everyone's protesting and looting these areas, and it's like, well, now you're just fucking dumping gasoline on the fire, you know? But at the same time, though, would the message get out if these protests weren't happening?
No.
I think that's a great question.
It is such a double-edged sword.
Well, my question is the lockdown maybe one of the reasons why all the riots and looting happen?
Well, yeah, people are bored. People are at home.
Noticed it.
People only are on their computers right now. Like, people are
one more.
Just fed up. People are unemployed too.
Yeah.
I'm looking at the moon tonight.
Oh, that one! Did you hear that? Earthquake.
I mean, it's a shitty fucking situation, because we got everyone just chilling at home, kind of angst out because they don't know what to do, and they're not allowed to go out. So, like, isn't there sort of like when I say don't think of the word butthole, what are you thinking of? You're thinking of the word butthole. When you tell someone don't go out, don't go outside and riot.
You're gonna tell an American that? You're gonna tell the average person that?
Especially as young people, we've got this rebellious mentality, you know.
Like, we're not fucking Norway. Like, we're not and we don't have China. Yeah! We don't have a Chinese government to be like, okay, no, we don't care what you think. You're literally just gonna stay inside. Like, we don't have that.
Well, it's weird in places like New York. The mayor's like, let them loot. You know, like the cops literally don't even go into these areas, and they just what are you talking about?
I mean, in some areas. I mean, yeah, they're in Chicago too. But
why'd you say no?
There's this interesting. Well, not in. I mean, you can't just. That's just a big just kind of.
Oh, what you do, Levy, when you say that all Orthodox Jews are welfare queens?
Most of them.
See, that's a
Jordan,
big, wide statement. You can't do that, and you just called out John. Therefore, you're hip.
No, I don't give a shit,
That's
Alex.
not
I
a
can
good
give a
point
shit. Dude, I'm
either.
half
That's not a
Jewish.
good
I can
point,
call
Alex.
shit about like fucking the Orthodox community there.
That's
but
when you know you're when you
they're
say,
still,
"Oh, I'm half
dude. I don't
Jewish,
care.
like
They're
a rock."
homophobic and transphobic as fuck. You think I care what they think?
Hey,
Like
hey,
why? Like you're
Calm
defending
down.
a bunch of homophobes. Like I
frequency
don't
40,
know how you can
frequency
even do that.
43.
Kevin's got the PS4
We're all-
remote in
we're all
his
fucking
hand.
Like you're yelling at you're defending a community of homophobes. So that's where like just my trust ends. That's where my trust ends with these people. That's where I don't give a shit about these people.
Lamb for
They're
making a
homophobic.
very, very broad statement, but then you made a broad statement about Orthodox Jewish people. So
Yeah, Calvin.
95% of them hate gay people, Alec.
bro, now you're just
95% of America hates gay people.
That's a high
No,
percent.
that's
Probably,
not
okay,
true.
20 years ago, 95% of people.
95 is pretty high.
What?
Yeah.
Wait.
You're talking in the
20
2000s.
years ago.
People hated gay
2000s.
people.
Okay, well, now we got to measure what does it mean by hate?
What? It was like John.
Like
In like
anti-gay?
John, even in the 80s, it was at least people who believed in it.
Especially
Like
in
gay
their
marriage.
you know
it was
what?
like
Look,
70
bro,
to
I
30,
take
60
it
to
back.
40.
I take it back. I was just trying to stir up the pot a little bit. Okay?
Okay,
It wasn't a valid
that's
point.
just-
All
that's
right,
just
I'm just
stupid
trying to
thing.
keep
Bit
it
of a
going.
maybe hyperbole to show.
Yeah, I was
that,
just
you
trying
know what I'm
to.
saying?
I was just trying to fucking steam up the pot a little bit. Okay, let's chill out.
Yeah.
wow, 57% of Orthodox Jews identified with the Republican Party. That's not that much.
I mean,
That's literally.
Well, it's not that little.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's like a flip of a coin.
Yeah.
Almost.
Yeah, you like that?
I liked how much you liked it. Your face, God,
Yeah.
it was happy.
Yeah, I just struck gold right there.
Yeah, you can say that.
Yeah, you can say that.
But on the subject of virtue signaling, I think one of the biggest things, obviously, is it a form of activism or is it virtue signaling? I think all that makes the difference is the motive. But I actually think the motive is completely. I think most people are doing it for selfish reasons. I really do, and I have some thoughts, some evidence. Actually,
Let's hear him.
So we've all seen like a bunch of people repost stories, right? Reposting loads and loads of stories. One day, because I was a little bit critical, just critical as in like thinking critically, not criticism, but I was wondering, and almost like nobody that I saw, it was a very, very small number of people, were following the accounts that they were reposting. And I think kind of if you think about that, posting a story for 24 hours is like the definition of like temporary support, whereas like following a lot of the times with the black voice, black account, the person
That
who
was
runs the
very
account.
well said.
That was
You know what I'm
very
saying?
well
Like,
said.
I think that's one way. It's like, you're not even following them. So if you're not following them, why are you reposting their stuff? I think it's.
This is what I'm gonna tone it back, and I'm gonna look at a little like evolutionary like perspective, right? So if we were all 10, 15,000 years ago, we were all in our tribes, right? We're all in our little tribes hunting. We all want to be liked by everyone, no one wants to not be liked by everyone. So when you have this phenomenon going on, right, you're gonna post about it because that's what everyone else in your tribe did, right? And you're like, well, I don't want to be the one ostracized from my group, so I'm gonna do it, but I'm not actually gonna put in the work. I'm just gonna be on this team so everyone likes me and I'm not singled out. You know what I mean? Instead of actually digging deep and caring about the cause, they're more worried about what other people think of them.
Well, I'm not going to lie, John, but if you're talking about hunter-gatherers, they weren't thinking that sophisticated.
Well, okay, but like, hear me out. Hear me.
Fully developed. Like,
So,
they were just,
you're right. I didn't really.
So they weren't thinking about what team, like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I get what you're trying to
Yeah.
say. The point is, like, They can't think that deep, right?
Okay, so ignore the hunter-gatherer part. I guess my main point was
Yeah,
us as a
right,
species, we want everyone to like us, right?
yeah.
So
Yes, we're
so
yeah.
when you have this phenomenon like this going on, and someone posts something about it, then you kind of feel obligated to do it, to acknowledge it,
Yeah.
but people don't feel acknowledged to put in the work after that because no one's gonna see the work you put in on your own. You know what I mean? You just do it. Everyone sees I did it. That's it. You know, I don't have to put in
a statement. Yeah, no, that's spot on. That's spot on about human species.
Perfect.
I need to pause and go back so I don't have to hear about Calvin saying Orthodox Jews are on welfare.
Bro, in Israel, all right, maybe not in fucking New York.
Well, never
all
mind.
right? They're a little bit different in New
My
York.
statistics were for United States, so.
And also, most New York Jews are like non-Zionists and shit. Like most of them don't even believe in Israel.
Well, what I was gonna tell you is actually, surprisingly, this is from Pew Research Institute, so reliable source.
Are you looking at New York or Israeli ones?
Well, no, I said
difference.
I didn't know you were talking about Israel, but I still will say it. United States.
Like I will agree, New York
30,
ones
30%,
have like diamond businesses.
I was just gonna say
they got a lot of business.
Can I fucking finish with the statistic? Jesus, 30% of Orthodox Jews in the United States make more than $150,000, and then 19% are on welfare. So you're right. There's still a big portion.
That's pretty high.
Yeah, no,
19%.
Oh, that's very high.
Well, that seems
What
pretty high for a
percentage of the
specific
world-
minority group.
What percentage of the U.S. population?
So it has that.
Is on
So the US
welfare? I don't know.
So here, it's actually less than 50K.
What's the average?
Less than 50K people?
No. Just let me.
John, are you carrying your laptop around and walking?
Hold on, I
around?
want to see what the average person.
Yeah,
I'm trying to say it.
I kind of liked it.
40%.
Change everything.
I might do it first. I might do it for a little bit.
I'm
Can I have-
gonna go pee right now.
Real quick.
Scott, you have the floor. Yeah.
Thank you. 40% of
Like, I
Orthodox Jews
shouldn't
make
move.
less than Lucas, bro. Integrity.
Wait, it's
Integrity of
exactly
religion.
19%, Alec.
So can I fuck it? Like you guys have key.
I just wanted to give you that information before you
Alec,
spoke.
finish
but
your
go
point.
ahead.
Finish
Yeah,
your
go
point.
ahead.
So to be on welfare, you have to
That's
make
so
less than like 20K, right? It doesn't have a percentage of less than 20K. It has 40% of Orthodox Jews making less than 50K, and then 56% of the U.S. general public. This is from 2013. 56% of the general public make less than 50K. So 17% more, like, of American population. And then, so what's another crazy stat? So I said 28% of Orthodox Jews make over 150K. Only 8% of the U.S. general public make over 150K.
Lamb, what are you?
John, bro.
Yeah, what's going on, man?
Oh my god!
No. That's
What are you
recording,
doing?
dude. It's
Oh, that's
recording.
going
You're
to
gonna
the
get
world.
banned.
You guys are gonna get striked on YouTube.
You're all gay.
Lamb,
Lamb,
you
Oh.
just got
strike.
flagged, bro. You just got flagged. For
Bro,
sure.
that was.
I mean,
You
no
know I
one
like to
saw
push
it.
the line.
15 inches.
Yeah,
Wait,
right?
you guys saw
It
it?
was too small, so no one saw
And
it.
then Skyhawk's ass is gonna be on YouTube as well.
Yo,
Bro, my favorite part about that was only Will noticed like the first shoot.
Yeah, I was like,
Bro, I couldn't believe no one was saying anything.
And then I kept going because I thought no one saw it, and then I heard Will's chuckles, and I was like, okay.
you know, I always love to push the line. Push the boundaries of what's acceptable.
on YouTube?
No, just in my takes, the way I go about life. I was peeing in a bush for the podcast listeners.
Yeah.
For the frequency 43
It's
listeners out
article.
there.
Haredim aren't as poor as you think. Ultra-Orthodox Jews are not as
Yeah.
poor as you think in Israel. Not really good.
Oh, can we stop talking about
Okay,
Israel?
stop.
Yeah.
No,
That
I'm
was
really
too
curious
bad.
because it's like, are there actually a shit ton of them on welfare? Like, I want to.
Yeah, there are.
Alec came on this podcast just to shit on Cabin.
Bro, I'm mostly Alec. That's the reason Alec. I hate Alec. I'm pissed off because they're homophobes, not like
Okay, I didn't know that.
like
now
that. Like
homophobes, fuck
yeah,
them.
but that's just like an
I
extra joke.
think
You
the
guys-
homophobes
you
are
guys
actually the
need
ones
to
that are
stop
gay, in my
talking.
opinion. I think there's something to it though. Like the kid that always shits on like gay people and stuff. I think deep down that person is just insecure about himself. You know?
Probably.
Seriously, that's
I mean,
all.
look,
That's all it comes
100%.
look
down
at bullies.
to.
Look at you know, remember that Keel and Peele where like
Why would you
talked about, like,
obsess over that
bullying and
single
shit?
topic?
Calvin, it's 30% on welfare, so you're kind of right. That's kind
Mhm.
of high for like a specific group.
Plus, they have like 10 kids.
Yeah, that's even the American ones do. They fucking have
Yeah, they
on
have hella
average like
kids.
5, it said, which is a lot more than the progressive Jews literally have 2 to 3 kids, and that's
Do you think it's
Hey.
unethical to have like 5 kids in the
If you
world that
can't
we live
I think if you can't support them,
I
Oh.
think if you can't, and most of them can't support 10 children. Who can support 10 children in an American economy unless
So,
you're fucking rich?
I can't even
That's
support
impossible.
There's a difference.
That's
There's
impossible.
There's birth rates that are high because like survival is low for infants, right? We look at like across the world, some places in South America, some places in Africa.
Right.
So that's not unethical, bro. They're just trying to survive and keep their offspring going. But then what we're talking about is, yes, if you some people will have kids just for the benefits they get. Like, you know, you get an extra $700.
yeah, but I feel like the
I don't think people are having
negatives
kids just
outweigh
for the
benefits.
$700.
Trust me,
People do. People do.
sociology documentary, my friend.
Especially
You
if
gotta
you're
open
on
up your
welfare,
door.
you
You
get more
think
money
people
too.
are just busting nuts and having kids just for that? Like,
Yes, because a
money?
family
Yeah.
of 4 gets like $2,500 a month or something. It's like $700 more if you have that second kid.
And that's just like imagine it in like England where you're getting way more money for benefits.
But as we're talking about this, no, it doesn't mean like there's millions of people. It's probably a couple hundred of people.
Yeah,
who
I
have
know.
to-
I
And
know.
these people
probably
are
a
they're probably
thousand.
having
I
kids
don't
on
know.
accident though. You too. You know what I mean?
That's
Especially if
a
they're like,
I know.
Oh,
No, some of
you
them are
think
probably
you think
accidental.
they're
Like, they
poor
didn't
and they're
put
like,
condoms.
how we? You think these people are
yeah,
like poor?
no, I agree with
okay,
that.
okay.
But
I'm digging into this mindset. So you think like this poor couple or whatever? They're like, fuck, man, like we're really behind. Like, how are we gonna get these extra dollars and shit? Let's just have a kid. You know, like that mindset doesn't make sense to me because it looks like some titties are going on right now, and there's some mischief. You know, like I think it costs a lot more money to raise a kid than it is just for that extra $700 a month. You know, because you gotta health. You know, these kids maybe they want to. I don't want to say go to college because what if you can't fund that? But like it costs so much money to raise a child.
True, but what I watched, John, is so they have a kid, right? And
Yeah.
it's like, oh, doctors, you're supposed to have a doctor's appointment every year. No doctor's appointment. Dentist appointment. No dentist appointment.
Right.
Health insurance. No health insurance. So yes, kids are expensive, but you think
You
they're
just gotta
thinking about
feed
that?
'em.
It's literally just like, here's your meal, honey. Go to school. Like there's no extra payments. Like the point is, it's expensive to raise a kid when you actually want to raise the kid right. Is kind of like the better motto because it's
gotta
like
eat dinner.
you could raise a kid for fucking cheap. Would they have a good life? No. But could you make them survive and still like live? Yeah. Like, you know what I'm saying? So it's like, bro, they're probably giving the bare minimum to their children. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's
Then it
like,
just creates a vicious cycle.
no, that's true. Like a lot of them are malnourished. Like it's really sad, but it is a vicious cycle.
I think life is just a vicious cycle.
Bro, life
Yeah.
is rough.
I think everything in life is, we call it interconnectedness or whatever, but like the first time I heard it in college, I was taking some environmental studies class and I was like, sure, like that's some like hippie shit. And then the more I like think about it and stuff and like I ponder life every single day and the more I think and like get my own thoughts, the more it kind of like makes sense how like everything is kind of like intertwined together. If someone could expand
Here's
off
my
it,
hot take. Here's my hot take. Pretty hot, but I think every business major, if you're wanting to actually do business, you should take more than one ethics and moral class. Because my point is, these universities are literally just keep sending out kids that want to go into business, but they don't want to go into business for the right fucking reasons. It's like they want to be the next Phil Knight, but the problem is, if we want to have like a happy and successful society where it's like we don't keep seeing people getting fucked over, oppressed, exploited, it's like we can't have this mindset of, oh, I want to go to University of Oregon, go to Lundquist Business School, and be the next executive for Nike. It's like, nah, that can't happen. what you should want is like, I want to have a successful business, maybe in the shoe industry, but also being ethical and environmentally responsible.
I have a question, Skyhawk, for that hot take, which I did so appreciate because it does make a lot of sense. But do you think taking a class on like ethics and morality would have an impact, even if the person isn't open to having that discussion? What if they just care about themselves and their own financial security in the future?
When I say an extra class, that extra class isn't to get 100% success rate and change those minds. It's to make people like me who was in business and didn't even realize about the environmental and like ethical impacts of business. And it'd be those kids that are on the board, you know, or on the fucking pendulum, and they're like, oh, what do I do? And then they take a class like that, and it opens their eyes, and they're like, oh shit, like I still want to go into business, but I'm gonna have to think about it more responsibly.
Well,
So
and just for the business majors to think about business with that context, you know?
Yeah, no, yeah, that's
Right.
what I'm saying. Like, I think it's not for obviously everyone, but I think like the hope would be that it would open up a person's like perspective and opinion
Right.
a lot broader, you know?
Yeah, I don't think that's that hot of a take. I think things would be a lot better, obviously, if and I think a lot of people think that
I call
also.
it a hot
I
take.
think a lot of people think that.
My
It's a
roommate last year,
utilitarian
why the
take.
fuck would I want to take a moral ethic or social science class? Like, what the fuck am I going to learn from it? And it's like, bro, you'd learn so much. But, yeah, keep that mindset. Like, that was Spencer, obviously, man.
I have a funny thing kind of related to that. One of my teachers, it was a women, race, and power class, and that's what it was called. And in this, our whole like society, she would always say this is set. It's like set with the thought process of competition and conquering.
Right. So in my
for
economics,
thousands of years,
Yeah.
ingrained in a human species.
so in my
That's a lie. That's actually false. Like, everyone wants you to think it's competition, but like, for example, Darwin.
does not
Dude,
does
that's
pressure not create diamonds, though?
undeniable, bro. Undeniably, humans have been conquering for thousands of years.
Would we not be innovative though if we weren't competing against each other? Like,
No,
like,
but in the context
what-
of her, it was the white point of view, white people conquering. Like, it was in the context of racial capitalism, which is what
I think we need
ethical business.
Right. So in terms of like morals and like stuff and like the white man like conquering, I think everyone just like as a society we need to just like kind of like grasp.
There's
get a
been
better picture.
Indian
No, let me
conquerors.
finish, let
There's
me
been
finish, let me
Asian
finish.
conquerors. There's
Right,
been
right,
all these
right,
other
Lib.
types of conquerors, bro. It's
Right,
just everybody always just focuses on the white man
Perfect.
conquering because
So
that's the white
so
man is
let me finish my point.
they're the people who kept it going.
So I think
Pieces of
people need to
shit.
kind of get a better grasp of like what life was like 100 years ago. You know what I mean? Like it's so fucking absurd of like where we are now to where we were
1920 was pretty
ago.
shitty. Great Depression was about to hit.
Prohibition.
Well, because like people were just trying to we were just trying to survive. You know, we weren't giving a shit about anything else except where our next meal is coming from, and like you know, like people were just dying left and right. You know, people didn't give a shit about anything except surviving and eating food and anything else. But I want to hear what Will has to say because I did see that little facial expression and I'm dying to know what that was saying.
Give the mic to Will Reuter.
I know what you're saying, man. I think people cared about more things than survival. But I know what you're saying. Obviously, there was less leisure. 100%. 100%.
I mean, people were growing their own food and just trying to, you know, like
The most successful nations back in like ancient times were the nations with like the most harsh punishments, the most like immoral like fucking things, dude. Like that's just how our society is like advanced throughout the years. Like Rome was by no means ethical.
Systems.
Rome prospered because they had just I'm too high. I can't
One
finish
thing
my
though
thought.
that what always surprised me was so we know we learned about Darwin, right? And we learned about like Darwinism and survival of the fittest, right? And what's crazy is I never knew this, but I learned in one of my social classes is like in his book, like his evolution book that he wrote, like when he was out the Galapagos and shit, he actually only talks about survival of the fittest twice when he's talking about species. When he talks about more than what's the word that he hints to in his book more than 100 times is about love and acceptance. And I think it's so interesting that
That's
a
so
whole
weird.
book where survival of the fittest was only talked about twice is what we like learn, and we're like, yeah, survival of the fittest, that's what species do. But what we don't talk about is what he was actually focused about when he was at Galapagos Islands and stuff, and it was about how species would like instead of competing with each other, they would adapt and overcome and like help each other out.
Yeah.
It's so fucking interesting that we take.
What's the evolutionary advantage to helping someone out? Now, like what I learned in my anthropology class is like we learned about like what's called kin selection, and that's basically like that's like my sister like taking care of like my child, you know, like since there's some sort of like genetic like thing between us, then like it makes sense for her to like take care of like my sibling or something
and that's
like that.
where it was going.
But
So John, you know how like the birds that you learn in like the Darwin shit, they had
like the
different sized
beaks and the
shit,
finches.
right? Well, that's what he's talking about. Is they all come from a fucking ancestor that they've all connected. So you're right. It's kind of like the kin thing. It's like, okay, while we're different type of species, we have the same lineage. So they felt this like connection with helping each other. And I feel like that's
You're on a light, Alec.
If the goal is to
I feel like
survive,
that's the disconnection humans have. Is like we look at Darwin and we look at the wrong thing that Darwin tried to teach us. It's like survival of the fittest. Yes, it works when we're trying to like compete and fucking bring people down. But what really works is like, it's like another example is like, are you gonna make your are you gonna help your neighbor out and boost your whole community, or are you gonna like not help out the neighbor and then that just lowers the value of the whole neighbor? Like it's just it works.
I think it's where your self-interest is. Is your self-interest to boost everyone else and lift them up, or is it just for you?
Well, I guess that's what I'm
your
trying to say. Like we need to have a different mindset. It's like everyone thinks individualistic.
And
like,
Skyhawk.
I'm gonna compete against you all, and it's like, nah, I want to help Will out with his problem because then he's gonna help me out with my problem. You know?
Yeah. No.
I wish
And that's,
I just think that's what we miss now. Is like when you hear someone like want to help someone out, you know? You don't.
Yeah. No, and because we're so geared to compete and conquer is a tough word. Like when you hear conquer, Lib, your brain went to like conquering land or something, you know, but conquering as in just like competing. But the single word, Scott, and you used the word mindset that my teacher used, and at first I was like what the heck? But she called it sacredness. She's like, we need to have you need to have a sacred mindset. And let me tell you what that means. It means it's like it's more of like a collective like.
Yep.
Instead of like a feeling of competition driving things, a thing of sacredness should drive things. As in like, if businesses think how they can like better everything as opposed to bettering themselves, and you know what I'm saying? Like,
that's the future. Like, we really want to have a successful future. This is what the future looks like. Contra Costa County, we have our own fucking like food web. Basically, we grow our own food. We'd go to Walnut Acres Elementary. We'd go to all these elementary and middle schools. We'd have people working in picking compost. That compost goes to a community farm.
But where's the incentive?
What?
Where's the incentive?
It's
right. You're thinking about a utopia.
How does that not sound good?
You're thinking utopia, like.
But Lucas, let me finish.
No, relax.
Like we all want that, dude. But
it's not an argument. It's more of a
no.
That's
question. A great point. Like I wish someone said that. So what'd you say again?
Where is the incentive?
Right. So the incentive would be instead of having processed Safeway food, you're getting local vegetables, local produce that you can like. You know what I'm saying? I'm not. You go. And that's like what needs to change is like I think the same way when I hear that. Like what is the incentive? But like the point is what we think of incentives as money or something, but like what we need to change is like what is an incentive or what?
You're just dreaming though,
The
because you're just gonna
incentive-
get. You think like that in the
No.
capitalist structure that we're already in, you're gonna get smashed.
Well, see, that's the
This
thing.
is
your cheeks are
Capitalism.
gone,
This is what I'm
bro.
talking about.
This
This is the
is-
future. Like if
You're gonna
if
get
this is-
absolutely smashed, bro.
Okay,
So like, yeah,
okay,
we
Lib,
can think
Lib,
like that,
I'm gonna
bro.
take
But
you back.
like,
So Lib, this is
I mean, it all
This,
starts-
this is
this
a
and
hypothetical. This is a
capitalism
hypo.
don't coexist.
If we would start,
This
if we
and
would start
capitalism don't
civilization
coexist. That's what I'm
over
trying to say.
again, if we would start civilization over again, like obviously right now we're in a capitalist system, so you can't. Everyone's for themselves trying to get dollars.
It's gonna
Racial
restart
capitalist.
another 50 to 150 years. It's gonna go down.
I like that. I like
That's
that
my
word.
mind. Like that's
Sure.
my point, though.
It's
We're
two
gonna have
words.
we're gonna have a chance to restart within 100 years. Mark my words. There's
But
gonna be a restart.
what's gonna make the change? Is it gonna be too many people stacking up on the bottom?
Mindset of sacredness.
No, here's what's
Like, is
gonna
it gonna be
happen.
the
Dude, I was
environmental
hearing
problems?
some things that there's actually a lot more. Like there's a lot more room. Eddie Bravo, bro. Like you guys gotta listen to Eddie Bravo. He's saying that-
But here's how it's gonna start. Will, John, we're gonna run out of water in the Middle East. There's
Yeah.
gonna be no fucking water. Then there's gonna be some wars, right? Then there's gonna be a bunch of refugees. Then the United States, we're gonna look at ourselves and be like, what the fuck's happening? It's still gonna be shitty. And then I swear to God, there's either gonna be a civil war or another war. Shit's gonna happen, and people are gonna realize, oh shit, this is what capitalism continues to do. And there's gonna be a shift. The question is, what the shift? Where is the shift going to go? And that's what I was trying to say. Is what Will said. Is like what I talked about right there. That community farm and shit. That's if there's no more capitalism. Obviously, that wouldn't work in capitalism. Like, it will work in small locations, like up in Lane County, up in
Right.
Oregon. They
Or
have-
in groups where people truly like care about each other too. Cause like I live in Walnut Creek and it's like, well, I don't give a fuck about you, or you, or you, cause I don't know you and we haven't built a relationship. But like in the
that's-
future,
yeah,
in the
that's
future
why-
when we have like these communities and shit, like I look at the Amish as a perfect example of
That's a
this,
great
where
point.
like
Like,
we're like Amish people, they really care about each other. It's all about caring about your neighbor and stuff. And like you take care of me, I take care of you, and like we live like symbiotically. But like right now, I could give a living shit about like these other people, because guess what? In my mind, I don't think they give a shit about me. So I'm in this like mindset where it's like, okay, like you don't give a shit about me, so why should I try and help you out?
I hate
You know
that
what I mean?
mindset, but I understand what you're saying.
Well,
Like,
because I've guess what, and it's because I've opened up, and like this has happened in my fraternity. Like I've like tried to like be nice to people and like opened up and like doing all this like stuff to try and be nice and stuff. And it's like, well, shit, I'm not getting anything in return. So why even help in the first place? You know, why even try?
well,
that's
that's
my-
the hardest mindset. It took me fucking 3 environmental studies classes for me to finally realize that like I care about other species and humans. I'm not gonna lie. It
Like
took
I
me a
do,
long-
I look out, I
took me a
treat
long
people with
time.
kindness, but it's like
But then
I
this
don't
is
see
the
it
mindset
coming
I have.
back.
Here's the
bro,
mindset I
people
have.
will are just gonna take advantage of
Then
it.
people take advantage of you.
Agreed. But I'm talking more about other species. I used to always be like, okay, obviously humans are better. But lately, it's just been like, why do I have that mindset? Like, is it because I can think like that? At the end of the day, I feel fucking like shit because it's like these species have been living peacefully, not doing anything, right, on this world that we share with them. Yet they have no fucking acceptance and they don't get to bring anything to the table because we don't even think about them. So it's like, I don't know. Lately,
Wait, who are you talking about again?
Animals, species, other species.
I really like used to.
Well,
not
they're killing each other, man. They're eating each other's
Well, what
trait
happens when a grape-
intestines.
what happens
They're
when a grape-
fucking-
I'm talking
like,
about like trees.
They're
and
ripping
shit.
they're ripping each other the
I'm talking
shreds,
about,
man.
like trees, and I'm talking about salmon. And who killed salmon?
Dude, can
Fish-
I talk about
killed the-
salmon? I typed a 10-page paper on it. I just
Ooh.
need to. Yeah, so I know a little bit about
That's Dr.
salmon.
Long's paper right there.
I took it was economics 339. My paper was about dams, and basically,
dams get me hard. Fuck dams.
right? I'm on team fuck dams too. Don't get me
Finally.
wrong.
They don't even
Um,
do that much energy.
I'm
Like,
building a dam right now.
Adarsh, you're
Fuck
fucking.
you,
Wait,
Darsh.
what?
Darsh, you're the
Wait,
reason.
wait.
Oh, Adarsh's company builds the wall.
You're
Adarsh's
building a
company
dam.
builds dams. Adarsh, why do you work for them, bro? That's
Money,
part of the problem.
money.
God damn it, capitalism. You know what I
A
gotta
dollar,
say? to everybody?
a dollar is a dollar. Doesn't matter how you earn it. That's the
That's
sad
what I have
part.
to say.
Hey, And that's okay. Frequency 43 supports free speech.
We prevail and we move forward in frequency 43. Because is there an alternative? You know,
If there's
that
an
we know of.
alternative, give it to me.
yeah, right. I wish I could. I
Alternative
wish I
to
could
what?
age. Yeah, I wish I could go backwards. and be a
Universal
kid
basic
again.
income. That's a start.
Yeah, UBI is definitely a
All
start.
right, UBI. If you don't know me,
Can
my name's
somebody
John
give me a
Lamb,
brief
and I.
breakdown of UBI?
So,
So-
Lucas, UBI. Darsh, you want to break it down?
Well, like in like a metaphorical sense,
give an
basically,
example.
like so right now you're born and you start off on different levels, right? You can like really rich, the middle class, poor. But if you have UBI, then basically like the poor people, they like everyone starts on the same level. You won't start at a
Right.
disadvantage.
So the
Okay,
whole-
but who gets to decide
Lucas,
where
you need
the
to look
starting
up-
level is?
This
The
is
government, that's the problem. Is
People are
that
taking guesses. Just go type in UBI Canada town, and in the 80s and 90s, there was actually a study, like a full-on study on a town, done in this Canadian town right on the border of the United States, and everyone was skeptical in this community. Like, why the fuck would we want to give money to everyone? Like, I earn my shit, right? Everyone was skeptical. Oh, it's gonna lower work, right? It's gonna lower this. It's gonna lower that. And what they found is that it literally, the only thing it didn't boost rich people up. They stayed the same. It didn't boost upper middle class. The only thing it boosted was the low class and the middle class.
right back?
I think it gives some momentum to those people in poverty that can't really do anything about it. You know what I mean? Like it's like
Well, yeah,
$1,000
no,
for
yeah, it's
someone who
literally just
doesn't
a
have
boost.
anything.
And then a country that's doing it right now, Lucas, is it's like Tanzania, or one of the countries that has a bunch of natural resources in Africa.
I'll take $1,000, man. Fuck.
No, it's Nancy. So,
This
okay,
is
anyway,
what's
there's this country that's owned, like, it's still run by the royals. So literally, like, all the royal families are worth billions of dollars, but then the common people aren't worth shit, right? Because like all the natural resources are getting exported. So they actually started a UBI system, and they're still on it today. And like the people fucking love it because they're actually like, yeah, we were
Where
getting.
is this?
Let me remember.
Tanzania, right? Is that what you said?
Tanzania is a guess, but I shouldn't guess.
I think all right. While you look it up, I'm just gonna.
We're talking about Tanzania right now.
No, we're talking about UBI, you little slut. And this is what I know about UBI. I've been fucking
Alright,
saying this
man,
shit
well.
forever about Andrew Yang.
Well, Andrew
and-
Yang, I can maybe
Well,
get behind.
okay, but like this is his premise. Now listen to this. Not only do we
UBI
like,
is kind of
not only okay, I'll play devil's advocate too after my point, but
Agreed, Lucas.
Devil's
Yeah.
advocate.
anything for free, anything for free.
What do you
sus.
agree with, Nicola?
Yeah, Nicola.
Bro,
Bro,
was
UBI.
speaking up.
Are you kidding me?
Is that
Right.
that's what
There's
you're
been a lot
UBI
of
is
contributing?
hot
kinda
topics.
That's what you're
sketch,
contributing. You said I agree, but basically,
Nicola
Oh,
and
yeah.
I are on mute in the peanut
It's in
gallery.
Kenya. It's Kenya.
Yeah.
It's in
Kenya.
Kenya that they're doing a short period of UBI.
I think our modern
Yeah,
economy is
yeah.
okay. Listen. This is my point.
20,000 people are in the
Our
pilot.
our modern economy is transforming so fast. Okay, look at now. I'm just gonna take an anecdotal example. Look at the most popular job for all of Americans. That's a truck driver in a realtor. No, in a salesperson, like at Taco Bell or something.
Wait, really? That's
Yes.
the most popular job?
Well, yes. Well, if you look at like in a white
Salesperson, yeah.
you look at like a male in like its 40s or 50s who's providing for his family, most popular job is trucking. And there's not going to be any truck drivers in 15 years because they're just going to be driving themselves. And that's just
Tesla.
that's just one example of how like people are going to be shut off from the workforce because of AI and automation. Look at other things like lawyers. Like we have computers nowadays that are reading documents like for themselves and that can do all these sorts of things.
Yeah,
And if the experts who say they're right and they're saying, well, AI is going to go up exponentially, then I think we're fucked and UBI is kind of the only alternative.
Okay,
Got
hold on.
wrong.
But we're,
Lawyers will always be there because you need.
I disagree.
Human.
I disagree.
What do you mean?
Yeah, because the law isn't just black and white, right?
No,
or
because
wrong.
guess
By
what?
robot.
Lawyers are getting lower and lower in demand. Look it up. Look it up.
This is more.
I'm so in disagreement. In one of my social
Break.
classes, we were the one that's gonna go to the shits is accounting and finance. They already have algorithms.
Hey,
and
I'm with it, dude. I'm saying all jobs are gonna
there's
take
no
a
way.
hit because of
There's
automation.
no way, bro. Lawyers are always going to be needed.
Lawyers they might be needed, but they're not going to be as needed as they
Nickel
are
went
now
on
because of
mute.
automation.
Interesting. All right, actually, I have no fucking clue, bro.
Thank you. We're all talking out of our ass, okay? You know, we're all saying what we think, but we don't read books and actually know what we're talking about. It's all a little bit of speculation.
I read
okay?
books. What titties? That's
Shut the
literally
fuck up, Skyhawk.
Bro, can we talk about for a sec that about defunding the police, bro? What are you guys thinking about defunding the
Oh,
police?
I'm so ready, bro. Come out.
What's up with that? What's up with
I think
that?
if we defund the police, then we're gonna get shittier police officers. But I don't.
Fun fact.
I'm down to
Officers already
reform the police system, but
I
I
don't-
don't know if I'm
I
down
want
to
what's
defund
best
the
for
I mean,
America.
that pretty much like defund pretty much means
Yeah,
reform.
it doesn't mean like there's no police.
Like we just like
Oh.
what people are
Well,
saying is
we-
that there's no reason to send like armed police officers to like every conflict.
What if we had all cops
the
just
police
be black?
I
mean-
can
there'd be-
completely agree with that statement.
Lucas,
Yeah.
defund the police means there's no militarization budget.
I want to reform it. I want to reform the
1991,
justice
Bill Clinton
system.
passed this thing that
No.
basically said
Even if it's
if
not
there's
physical.
excess military budget in the United States government's budget, or there's extra fucking resources, like let's say extra tanks, extra Humvees, they literally distribute them equally across the country's law enforcements. So basically what defunding the police, best example I saw of it was actually Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez. Perfect example.
My babe. Love
You
her.
can do her, but
Love her.
it makes so much sense. Her
Oh
point
my
is
God, she's such a bad, bro.
Come on,
She's
come on.
so bad.
When they say defund the police, it doesn't mean there's no police.
No,
What that
I'm not
means-
talking about that. I just hate her in
I
general.
know, but let me finish. What that
Of
means,
course you do.
what she said is an example of that would be instead of having a militarized police in these inner cities, the inner cities would be policed like white suburbs are policed. That's what she means by defund the police. And it really makes sense if you think
Bro,
about
they
it.
should just have a bunch of black officers in the black.
That's what I'm saying. All
I don't-
cops should just be black.
I don't think that's
And
gonna
white
help.
people can just be
You-
firefighters
black
or
on
some
black,
shit.
like, you know,
You know what I mean? Like that, because then there's no like
But
racial.
then you have the
disparity.
same. No, but then you have the same.
no
No,
idea.
no,
I have
that would
no,
solve
I
the
have
same
no,
problem.
I have
Okay,
no idea.
obviously I'm
Opposite
joking.
direction.
Obviously I'm joking, but like that would that not kind of like fix
I
the
have
issue?
no idea what the solution to this.
Like, can we
problem
just
is.
not hire
I'm just
whites
gonna
as like
tap out of
police
this one.
officers? I'm gonna tap out too because I'm pushing the line.
I'm tapping out.
You're
Yeah,
never gonna
for it.
fix police until you fix the amount of guns that people own in this country.
But we're never gonna
Okay,
fix that
no
because there's more
way, I don't
guns. There's
believe
more
that.
guns than
Until
people
we
in
fix
the
the
I'm
country.
issue.
tapping back in.
Until we fix how many guns
Bro,
are in
what do
this
you
country.
mean, dude? People
We're
are
not
gonna
gonna
get
fix a lot of
guns
other
no matter if
problems.
they're illegal or
Stinky.
illegal, bro.
No
What do you
stinky.
mean?
Yeah, but it's the whole like cops just think that everyone has a gun and then they just fucking shoot innocent people. That's
I
like
know, bro.
that's
but
the whole
not
issue.
That's
the-
because we
that's
live in this
not the
country where
gun problem.
everyone
That
can get a
doesn't-
fucking gun. Like,
Yeah, it
think-
is.
if
way,
we
way
live
too
in a
easy.
country where everyone can get a gun, then cops are gonna treat people
This
like
is-
Dude,
everyone
you know
who
what's
they
actually
meet
I think
has,
cops can-
has the
Wait,
ability to have
listen
a
to me
gun.
for a sec.
We're
Listen to me
shouting
for a
at this
sec.
point.
Listen to me
We're
for a
That's
sec.
the worst
Wait, wait,
idea
wait.
ever. They see a black man with a gun, it's easier for them to shoot him. What?
I never
What?
did that. Like what? How
Wait,
did you get that?
He's
from
just
that?
saying the reason. Yeah, no,
I'm
that
just saying that like you're not.
Wait, didn't you
I'm
say
just saying the reason why, because we live in this society where everyone can buy guns, so obviously fucking our
Bro, but
fucking
having a
police are
society
gonna
where
treat
only the
society
police
that
can
our
have
own-
guns
our own
is kind of
society that
sketch,
way.
bro.
It's not though.
Bro, it's so
And yes,
sketch.
it
Yeah.
definitely favors black people, Alec.
Some-
That's what all these protests are about. Everyone knows that.
No, what
But
I thought
you're
it was
stupid if you
because of the
don't know
yelling,
that.
Kevin. What I thought you said was
Yeah.
if
No
more
more shouting
people have
matches.
guns. I thought that's what you were saying. If more
And
people,
I'm a victim to
guns.
that.
And I thought I was gonna say more guns won't solve the problem because then black people will have
Never
guns.
said.
That doesn't
Who
solve
said
anything.
that?
My bad.
Here,
I
here.
sort of thought I heard
We're-
over the yelling.
Regarding the police, and then I kind of want to switch topics because like we've been talking about this forever. But
More
like
being
I
deep-
think we can all agree like I think police need a much better job at training, and I
Yeah,
think there
at
needs to
least
be
4
some sort of
years. It should
I
be
think
like
there
a
needs to be
college.
some sort of protocol on how to get the
Yeah.
bad ones out because I think in a lot of circumstances like they know who, like, the cops who are working in these cities, they know who the bad cops are. And I think there needs to be a much better process, and it needs to be a more easy process of how to weed those cops out so we can reestablish.
Cops should be paid like doctors.
No.
Whoa,
bro.
bro, cops have like less than
Defund
half
the
the
police. They
that's
should
a
be.
All right. Maybe
Hey.
I'll rephrase that. Maybe it should be as hard to become a cop as it is hard to become
There
a
you
doctor.
go.
Hey.
Yeah,
There we
that's
go.
a solid take.
I love it.
Solid.
You know what I'll say though? You know what I'll
Great
say?
take.
Hey, I'm raising my hand. I got at the floor. Look at hand. Okay.
I'd raise my hand.
Oh, go ahead then.
No, I was just saying, Lam, I don't know. I don't think that's the best way to even approach the issue as if there's good cops and bad cops, because that's ignoring the
Do you
systemic.
think all cops are bad though?
I
No,
think
it's
all
not. It's
cops
human
play.
nature.
No, I think all cops play an equal role in racist America. It's a fact. They
Really?
do. Yeah,
Well,
of course.
I think that's kind of like a fallacy.
Even
though.
black
Like, you
police
can't
officers
say,
share an equal
you
amount
can't
of
say,
racism.
yeah,
for,
you can't
like,
say that all
for some,
cops
like,
are equally as
white
bad.
ass, like maybe
Like,
neo-Nazi
what?
cop.
Well,
You
see,
don't see a
I
difference
think-
in
I
those
think
two
just
types
like-
of officers.
I think
I
just
see
like
a
with everything
difference.
in life,
I see
there's
a
a bell
difference.
curve. There's a bell curve.
Like
On
you can't. That's
on some ends of the spectrum, you have bad cops,
big
and on some ends of
generalization.
the spectrum, you have good cops.
But that's another thing in talking about race that gets people tripped up is racism is more than extreme examples like you brought up, Gavin. You know what I'm saying? And when you bring it up in the context of extreme examples and less serious examples, you're negating kind of it as a whole. You know what I'm saying?
I don't think that's a very extreme example, but I understand.
So you think all cops
Like-
are equally as bad?
I
Is
just
that
think
your
the
take?
idea of being a cop.
Like,
no.
that's what I
Here's what I
heard,
think.
right?
Here's what I think. It's a soft.
I think they're all. I think
I'm
they're
gonna
all
have to thumbs down
fascists.
that.
I think they're all fascists.
I think thinking.
Are they good or bad fascists?
All
think
cops
thinking-
are fascists.
Debatable.
No, it's
That
all
means
cops-
all fascists are
Debatably.
cops.
Cheers to that, brother.
What I was just gonna
I
say
can drink
is
to that.
the average wage for a Walnut Creek police officer is 210K after.
Jeez.
So my point is, if you're making 200K, that's like literally what people make after a 4-year college degree. So fucking go to 4 years of training, and it shouldn't just be shooting training. There should be de-escalation training. There should be fucking
Yes.
mental, like
I
training.
love it.
It literally needs to be like a school. I feel like 3 years sounds perfect.
Wait. What'd you say, Skyhawk?
There needs to be, if you're paying, okay, so the example I used is Walnut Creek because we live in Walnut Creek. Walnut Creek cops on average, I think, is like $215,000 after overtime and benefits. So
Wait,
if you're getting,
what? A year?
Yes, guys. So basically,
No.
how cops get paid? Because
No.
And it's fat of a pension
kidding
that you
me,
can
you're
get.
counting,
right?
so it's
They
literally
get paid over 200 grand?
it's based on the average like wage or average income of like the city that they're like being. So like Walnut Creek cops, it's an affluent city, so you have to be paid a livable wage to live in the city you're policing, right?
I'm gonna take a step back. I think that's fucked up just in general. Like, I think Oakland cops should be paid, if not more than Walnut Creek cops. 'Cause
Yeah,
they're,
what the
That's
they're
what I
more
was
in the line of fire.
I like right because it's more violent, but that's
Right.
how it works.
But like, who gets
Oakland
to
PD is
who
always
gets to
hiring. By
who
the
gets
way,
to justify like
That's
who
a
gets to be a
fact.
Walnut Creek cop and who gets to be an Oakland cop?
I always see the signs.
And that's what I'm saying. Think about it. How many like black or Asian Walnut Creek officers do you see, bro? You don't.
I don't see any.
I seen one Asian cop and he was literally a white supremacist. He thought he was white, bro. I'm telling you.
God,
There's hella Asian cops in SF.
Well, yeah, it's SF, bro.
Just
I
how
mean-
Asians in SF.
Yeah, exactly. You
Yeah.
have to go with the demographics, bro. You need the Asian on Asian cops so you can talk to the, like it makes sense.
I think all cops should
Yeah,
be.
I know.
There was that. You guys see the videos of that San Jose cop? He was.
I
was
saw,
like-
yeah.
yeah,
I
he
saw
And
was
my
like-
point is, guys,
he was
we
like-
gotta
Wait,
be
what
more
happened? I
vocal
didn't
at-
see the
He was
video.
just like he looked like he was in like a Call of Duty game. Like, he
Yeah,
was all,
bro,
like, hyped up. He was
Oh,
just,
I
"Come on."
think I did see that. I did
Yeah,
see
he was
that,
San
actually.
Jose.
Yeah,
He was
I
a
didn't
San
know that was
Jose
in San
cop.
Jose. I didn't know that was in San Jose.
That's
I
cool.
saw that. He was like, "Let's go."
Yeah, he was like getting ready. He was like
It
getting
was like,
the
let's
shoulder
fuck up
thing.
some protesters,
Yeah.
dude. He's getting all hyped and
He
juiced.
was like pounding his chest.
Guys, we're gonna have to be
Here's what-
vocal in the next
Like,
couple of
what
years.
the fuck, bro?
2015 is when they bought the latest vehicles. So that means 2021, 2022 is when they're gonna buy a new whole fleet of Walnut Creek Police vehicles. So we better get to the city
Fuck Walnut Creek, please,
say,
dude.
fuck you guys.
Who's getting all the old Explorers?
They sell them
Fuck
at
do they
spot
even
auctions.
do?
They
Here's
basically
what I think. I
take
think
off all the templates and shit, and then it just
Couldn't
becomes-
even stop a damn fucking looting in the fucking Walnut Creek.
Yeah,
What
like,
a fucking
like there were
joke.
like 24 of them,
Mental-
and they
mentally
couldn't
unstable
even.
black
Yeah, they
people,
are
that's
pretty
how you know they're
worthless.
bad,
I'm
bro.
pretty down to defund these
Tackling
guys.
What the
actually.
fuck? Like, what the fuck do we even pay you
Yeah,
fuckers for, dude?
yeah, they are pretty
Seriously.
Fucking
bad at their
defend the
Today,
job.
fucking
skaters.
shops, bro.
Guys,
At the skate park without helmets. Sorry, go ahead.
They're great at that.
I know this is really hard to do.
Oh yeah, catching me with some weed and booze at 16.
Yeah, no,
you motherfuckers, dude.
Lucas and Calvin, real quick. Calvin,
What?
this one's mostly to you, but like I actually want you to think about it, and I know it's hard to think because like we're not in the position. If we're one of those cops that have, and you're at the Miles Hall incident, do you guys actually think you would have pulled the trigger at the kid?
Was
Like,
that the
I
one where
I
he had
feel
the
like
sorry,
taser?
I just
Can
shoot
you
him
break
at
me
the
down?
leg.
Dude,
what this
I've never
incident
shot a
was?
gun in my life, bro.
Well,
I've
I
never
don't
shot
know
a
what
gun.
I-
I've
no,
never
but
shot a
this
gun
is
in my
this is
life.
hypothetically.
I
if
don't
you're
ever
trained as a
I don't
really
know
cop.
what
want
I
to
would
shoot a
do.
gun.
Don, let me
Can
break it
you
down.
break,
Don, let me
break
it
down
down
the
to you.
scenario a little bit?
Don,
'cause
break it
I'm
down. All right,
Okay.
this kid's 21.
Okay.
For 2 years,
I've heard this. Be right back.
for 2 years, he's been really struggling
know,
with
right?
bipolar disease and mental illness.
Is this the victim or is this the cop?
This is the victim first.
Okay.
For the past 2 years, he's had like a couple incidents where they had to call the Walnut Creek police. So the Walnut Creek police knows about this like person, right?
And he's
So-
homeless or
No, he lives with a family in like a nice 2-story, like beautiful house by like Red Gears Park
okay.
over there. Okay. He's having one of those days, the day of the incident. He's acting out. He's lashing out to his grandma and his mom. Basically, grandma calls 911. 911 operator picks up. She says, "Hello, my name is blah blah blah. My son is Miles Hall. He's right now having an incident, and we need Walnut Creek. Like, we need police over here right now. We need help. Please help. Blah blah blah." She says, "Okay, do you see him?"
So his own mom is calling the police on him.
Grandma first, and then the mom calls like 2 minutes later, says the same shit. He has a metal object in his hand, and he's getting violent. She did say he's getting violent, but the mom was so much more calm. If you listen to her, she says like, "Yeah, it's just another like incident. He's getting violent.
Right.
We need you."
It's like a panic attack or something.
Yeah,
like
yeah.
that.
Well, he's having an episode. He's
Right.
bipolar.
Exactly.
So three patrol cars come up, 6 cops. So they were told that the incident guy has is mentally unstable. Blah 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 blah. First 2 guys come up with rubber bullets or pepper bullets, thinking that's gonna de-escalate the situation. So the kid's just like walking with the metal pipe. He gets hit with the first pepper. It's either rubber bullets or pepper bullets. And then right when he first gets hit, you started seeing him take off, and he's running. And if I can, I should get a piece of paper. Because I need to paint out where the cop officers were and where he was running. Perfect. Paper right here. Paper right here. All right. Street was angled
If
like
somebody
that.
shares their screen, it might show. If it plays the video, it might show up on my recording.
Basically, let's see what I can do.
Stick figures?
Bro,
Okay.
I'm not picking that up. I'm not picking
Yeah,
that
we're
up.
not.
Anyone
That's so
picking that up?
tough. You're gonna have to use your words.
Just use your words, man. You can do
This
it.
is a podcast, Alec.
Yeah. What about the listeners? What about the listeners?
Fuck the listeners. Okay, basically,
Yeah, yo. Adarsh is sharing a screen, and I can record this.
perfect.
This is perfect.
Oh, is this him?
Yeah, looks like it.
Bro, how old is he?
He was 21.
Dude, I mean, bro, was he a
Lucas, that's the
threat?
fucking problem. You just looked at his face and you're like, I mean, you're already trying to justify.
Whoa.
I'm gonna need
That's
everyone.
not
I'm gonna
what
need everyone.
happened
Quiet
there.
What
coyotes.
was that? I
Everyone.
mean, just okay.
I
So
don't
then
know.
what
Let
happened?
me watch the video. Let me watch the video. Let me see if he was a
Peace, love,
threat.
and war.
But see, that's
Three,
it just could be full grown.
One. I'm hitting play.
Bro, what do you mean I looked at his face,
Lip.
bro? No, none
Lip
of that,
Okay,
bro.
the way you
What the
said
fuck,
it was a
bro?
little sketch. The way
Bro,
you
none
said
of
it was just a
that.
little
Thank you,
sketch.
John. It sounded like it was that
You were
fucking
just like,
Bro,
what?
what? No,
It was just
that
like,
had nothing
What did
to
it mean?
The
do
other
with
thing,
it, bro.
the other
What
thing,
did it mean?
don't pretend.
I asked if he was 21.
Relax,
Okay, so
okay.
he's 21 and his mom is calling the cops on him. That's all I know
I'm just
about
gonna
this.
stop talking.
Okay?
You see, he's on the left side of the screen.
Where? I don't see him.
So he's running from the cops.
Oh, I see him, I
right
see him,
now,
I see him, I
right?
see
And he's
him.
getting in his
He's running
car.
towards the cop, but he's running off the
Oh.
side. You see?
Yo, they have 6 beanbag rounds. That's what they hit him with.
That's what it was. Fucking beanbag rounds, which is only gonna
Pepper
piss someone
rounds.
up.
Bro,
Did
so
not-
he's
did
just
not stop.
charging at them? Dude, I mean, is he on drugs?
Another way you could frame it.
He's mentally like he's having an episode.
I think he's schizophrenic or something like that.
Yeah, I know. He was fucked up. My
Can you guys hear this?
No, but it has.
Is this the kid?
Read it. Just read it. Yes, that's the kid.
Graduated
He looks
I think
so
Los
different
Lomos
then.
in 2014.
Oh,
So,
no.
17.
Bro, like, we don't know, bro. Like,
He was
this
22.
guy
He was
could've-
22. He was 22. This guy wasn't on shit. He just had a mental episode.
And
the
they
fucking,
shot him?
And what I'm trying to tell you is the Walnut Creek Police Department have known about this for 2 years. They like
Bro,
knew
you
about
see,
it.
that's just such a tough subject, bro. Like, mental episodes, like... Dude,
But
he
who
could have
else-
killed
that's
someone
that's
in a
the point.
mental
You're supposed to
episode,
call the
though.
police because they're supposed to be able
If
to
he was
handle-
in such a mental episode, he could have seriously hurt somebody. He could have killed a police officer.
with a
Yeah, but
metal
he did
pipe.
with a metal
Alright.
pipe though. He
Bullshit.
didn't have a gun.
All right, yeah,
tackle.
but how did they not? How did the tasers not take him down? Did they
They
tase
didn't
him?
use a
They didn't
taser.
All right, that's fucked up. Then they should have used a
They
taser.
didn't-
They hit him with 4 beanbag rounds, and then it didn't stop him. And then he got up and charged at him again, and then they shot him.
Use
But
a
here's my
taser.
point.
They're
This is
they
what
should have used a
I'm
taser.
Other point. Lawyer says there's a different video that wasn't the video that he wasn't running towards the officers directly. The lawyer
Alright,
was basically trying
It
to say.
looked in that
he's running
video like
away.
he was charging directly at the police officer.
But isn't that interesting? That's the video they showed. Yeah, this is the better one.
Watch this. Watch this. It's
Give
from
me
the
this.
officer's perspective.
All right, give me
Like,
this.
Oh.
bro, he's not running directly at one. He's trying to run around them. Look,
So that's his car.
where- he's going to the side, bro. He's running away. There's no
They just
officer
shot
up
him?
there. Go back. Go back. Go
Wait,
back.
they just shot him?
Yeah, they shot him 6 times.
What? They shot him 6 times.
I'm telling you,
Was
it's
there a
bullshit.
prosecution?
Yeah, none of them was charged.
What?
They got put on paid leave. It's bullshit, guys. I'm telling you. Even if he had a metal pipe,
Okay,
and
wow.
just
It's
tackle
This is
him.
bullshit.
happening in Walnut
Yeah,
It
Creek.
that's
is
the other
bullshit.
thing. Like, there's
They
Here's a,
actually
here's,
just shot
here's a
him?
different
Someone with
view.
a
Here's
metal
a different
pipe.
view.
Bro, I'm all for fuck Walnut Creek Police
Here's-
Here's
Department.
here's another
He's like
point.
a big guy. He was like
Warrant.
5'9". You
But
know,
Why are
that?
they
league-
shooting him?
5'9".
Legally at the time, like
Look at
Alright,
how tough this is, bro. Do you see that female cop just
I
walking?
get it's
Why
fucked
didn't they
up,
use a
but this
taser?
has
Why didn't
happened
they
a
use a
1,000
taser?
times in America.
This
Bro,
is
it's
how
just
it
fucked
felt
up
when
because
I
it
got
probably
This is
happened
caught
probably
with
the
it
my
probably
only the
happened
first
the-
time this has ever happened in
And then
Walnut
they
Creek.
handcuffed
This
him
is
after
exactly
he
how I
went.
felt when I got caught with my dab pen.
Wait,
Like,
guys, go
it's-
back. Guys, go back. Guys, go back. 3 seconds.
They fucking attempted
It just
life-saving
isn't the-
measures. What the fuck? Fuck you, dude.
First
Fucking
mentally
kill
ill
them.
person has gotten killed by the police.
I was
Like,
trying to
When
show,
like
you
that's
say
just like
that,
such a
that's
crazy
happened-
subject.
This is
Because
happening
that's
in
just like
Walnut Creek.
because like it's a way
Crazy.
bigger issue
on the
than like
net.
this one like thing. Like this
Kneel on the
happens
net.
like all
Yeah,
the time.
bullshit.
This has happened probably
Dude,
happened in
but like,
Concord
I don't
probably
know. I
fucking
wasn't
20
there,
times.
man. Like, I don't
But,
know,
like-
bro. It's probably a lot
Liv,
different if you were
Liv.
there.
I don't think
Of
I
course.
don't think you're what's the word? I don't think you're
Like,
sympathizing enough with this kid, bro.
Here, I'll say one more thing and stop yelling. Lucas,
This guy just got
I-
shot.
if this
I don't
guy-
know, man.
told
I
him-
don't know what to say.
I just said
I don't
you-
know what to say, man. I
Can
just
you
don't know what to say. He's having
Then
a mental
listen, bro.
episode.
Then
Listen, I'm
listen.
trying
Not
to
justify
say-
him
They should have
getting
tased
shot?
him. They should have tased him, bro.
Alright.
That's what I'm
Thank
saying.
you.
They should have
Thank you.
tased
Say
him.
my-
Thank you.
Say my closing
They
argument.
should have tased him.
Let me be Lucas. Can you listen real quick?
They shouldn't have gone straight to the fucking bullets. Why didn't they tase him? Like, that doesn't make any sense.
Now, can you listen to me?
Yeah.
Do I have the floor? Okay. My point is, if it's the first time they're aware of this guy, like let's say they just pull up on this dude, I totally know what the guy's gonna do. But my point here, and this is what the mom and the civil rights, like the lawyer was arguing, is they've had incidents before where they've had to call the Walnut Creek police and they've handled it like peacefully. They've helped the
Bro, mental health issues are so fucking like hard to
but my
like.
point
I don't
is,
know.
my
This
point
guy's
is,
this
But
guy
is
probably
it-
had a.
no, no, no,
I don't know if this guy had a certain
This is not a
specific
mental.
thing or
Stop.
something.
This is not a mental health issue.
Bro, it
though, right?
definitely seems like
It
it is
definitely
because
No,
this
is.
guy
How
was
is this a
mentally
mental- Bro.
unstable. That's the whole reason
Start
why
isn't getting the
that's
healthy
his-
needs for the mentally.
So he
Why
deserves
wasn't
to
he
die,
getting
though?
No.
No.
Why
I'm
wasn't
just
he
People
getting?
Pointing
have-
out where it
people
start,
have
where the
mental health
where
issues.
where
No,
where
no,
we
no, no,
failed,
no.
where we failed this guy first.
It
Is
seems like it's like a
policing.
more
It's
of a mental
policing
health
issue.
issue than
It's
even
not
a
a
police
mental
shooting
health
issue.
It's not.
no,
I
it's the
would flip
police
it.
issue. That should have totally been
All right,
handled
all
by
right.
the
Here's
Okay,
my
it
thing,
seems
right?
like
You're not
it's
gonna.
a bit of a
Okay.
No,
bit of
okay. Here's my
both.
thing,
You
guys.
are
You're not
right.
gonna get
You
rid.
guys are
You're not gonna get
I'm
rid of
gonna keep
mental
saying that.
illnesses, but you can get rid of bad cops. You can get rid of. You're not gonna get rid of mental illnesses, but you can get rid.
They should have
Times
tased him.
cops get
They should have
called.
tased him.
A lot of the calls cops get are for mental
Why didn't they
illness,
tase them?
though. You know what I mean?
No,
And
and that's,
How
oh,
could you even?
point to make.
that's a good point.
Mental illness is criminalized. This is an example of mental illness being criminalized.
True.
Thank
He's
you.
True.
more dangerous because he is mentally ill.
Yeah.
That's a problem. That is a police problem. It's
Bro,
not.
what breaks my heart is how the mom literally called so calmly. Like, you hear her voice. She's literally calling because this has happened for 2 years, and she's like calling because like protect and to serve. You're supposed to serve your citizens, bro. They're literally calling for help, thinking these beautiful boys in blue, the perfect saying, right? What we did, like learned as a kids. These guys are great. They
Fucking cops.
literally were calling for help. And what happens? Their little boy, well, not little, 22-year-old son is fucking shot from the people who they were calling for help.
Yeah, bro, it's fucked
That's
up.
what hurts,
Dude.
is
It's
like,
fucked
that's
up,
hitting
undeniably. But like,
those guys should be out of a job.
But like,
ideally, he wouldn't have
It's kinda
gotten the
like-
cops called him on the first
okay,
place.
but
That's all I'm saying.
Lucas,
Oh,
a lot of
in a
mental
perfect
illness
society, you're
goes.
right.
You
In a
can't
perfect-
control
not
it.
perfect.
You know what I mean? Like a lot of people are mentally like unstable because of
No,
like
in-
the
in
way they got dealt
socialism,
their cards in
mental
life.
health would be helped with,
Right,
like,
I know that's super.
in
It sucks,
capitalism,
but like
all
he
drugs
should have
are
been.
expensive.
It shouldn't have been a problem where the police have to get called on him.
Okay, but Lucas, I don't think you understand. Like when you're in like certain situations, like what's some fight or flight kicks in, and he just chose flight, and he just started booking it. You know what I mean?
And
Like
the police,
where is mental health in that?
and the police should have tased him.
So
And
why is it a
situation?
mental?
The
So why is it
situation.
a mental
situation should have
health
never
issue then?
happened.
So why is it a mental health
Not
issue?
gonna lie, guys, I literally could picture
Because
John
the
being
situation
that
should have.
guy.
The situation would have never happened
Point
if
to
he
make.
wasn't mentally
The
ill.
situation would have never happened if cops handled it right.
Everyone
It
going
would
to
have never happened if he wasn't mentally ill, bro. Like, what are you doing? You're 21 and your mom's calling the cops on you,
You
bro.
can
Yeah,
get
Like,
rid of
this guy.
mental illness, bro.
Not
I
only did
know,
our
that's
police
why
fail
it's
this
But
a
you
guy,
don't
hard
know his
topic.
story. You don't know his
It's because
story. though.
I
capitalism
don't
helps
exactly. That's
mental
So
why
health.
why
it's
are you
such a hard
criticizing
topic,
him for mental health?
bro.
Having a
But
lifestyle.
exactly, he could have done some seriously fucked up shit, but he also could
Or
have been
some
a
fucked up
super
shit
good
happened
guy.
to him, and that's what made him mentally
Oh!
unstable.
Thank you, John.
Like, what are you talking
Yeah,
about,
that's
Lucas?
what I just said. He could
No,
have
no,
also
no,
been
no,
a super,
that's not
super
what you
good
said.
guy.
That's not what you said. You said
I
this
said
kid's
he could have
this
been.
kid's mentally fucked up, so he deserved to have the cops got called on him, and for this shit,
That's not what I said at
saying
all.
he almost like deserved it. You're saying
I'm
that this is
saying
a mental
bring
health
up-
issue.
it's a hard
Lucas.
area. He should have been in a. The government like should have done something and have him in a mental institute or something. Like, what the fuck? Put him in a
I think
mental
they just should've-
institute
they
if
should've
he's
done a
gonna
better
try
No,
to break
imagine
into
to
his
be in a
mom's
mental-
house
that's the worst.
and fucking.
Yeah, those
I don't
don't
think
work
putting
well.
him in a
What the
I don't
fuck?
think putting him in a mental institution would do
Bro,
any
so
help.
like, what's the situation for
you
this
have-
guy who's a
the
serious harm to
situation?
his
The
own
cops
mother
come
that
and
needs
protect
his
and
own mother
serve,
needs to
bro.
call the cops on him? Like, what's the situation? What's the solution?
though.
There needs to be.
so
We don't
Alec,
know
what
his
even
background.
if you, whatever.
Why? What's the solution to your own mother calling the cops on you?
I think
The
therapy would
cops
be a
come,
great start.
they
That's not the
tackle them.
problem. That's
No,
not the
no.
problem.
That's a
How
great
is that
question.
not the problem? That's the reason he got killed. Is his mom called the cops on him?
No,
I think we can
see,
all agree there's
that's
multiple
not
reasons
true.
why he got
That's
killed. Okay,
100%
there's
the
multiple
reason.
Here's what I'm saying.
There's more than one reason.
What Lucas
What?
just
So the
said,
cops
though,
are just
what
gonna
Lucas just said
tase
is
him,
what-
and then he's just gonna keep on breaking into his mom's house
what
after
some
they
cops
let him out of
call
jail?
them. Like, are you wait? I don't get. Lucas, you're not making like what?
Okay, Lucas, I understand
Obviously,
your
the
point.
cops should have handled it differently, but it's definitely a mental health issue. That's all I'm saying.
That I don't think
Like, what
having
the
a, I don't
fuck?
think
How
having a
it-
mental I don't think having a mental health issue justifies you getting shot by the cops though. I think we
Yeah,
can all agree on that.
I totally agree.
right?
I agree. He should have been tased. That's what I've been saying this whole time. They should have
The-
handled it
the
differently. He should have been
law
tased. But the reason why he got
allow
shot and
take that
killed is because he was mentally ill and he was breaking into his mom's house and his mom called the cops on him and he started running at the cops and the cops didn't know that that was his car probably and it probably looked like I don't know. I was there. Maybe it was completely different. Maybe the cops are completely fucked up, horrible people. I don't know, dude. That's all I'm saying. Like it's a mental health. It
Not
seems
to
like
yeah.
I don't
It's
know.
facts. It's facts.
It seems like a very fucked up
I think we're
situation.
deep down. I think we're all kind of on the same page, right?
I feel like we're all on the same
mean,
page. I'm
it's
just
yeah,
trying
we
to put
all
it.
want
policing.
police reform.
It's a policing issue. It's not a mental health issue.
I agree.
I agree.
Because I think mental health issues are gonna
I don't.
be a problem regardless in our society.
I think they're
right?
intertwined.
I think they're
I think they're
intertwined.
connected as
Like
way
you can't
more
just
than you
you
guys
can't
think.
just call it
Elaborate.
one issue.
Because you
can't
guys
just call it
can't
one
blame
issue.
a bunch of cops when like our American
Like-
health system is failing all these mentally ill, and we're saying, "Oh, go ahead, cops. Why you go ahead and fix all these fucking insane people on the streets?" When people were bitching about
Yeah,
just 5 minutes ago.
that shouldn't be a cop issue. The cops shouldn't have to deal with these mentally
And
Does that
now,
justify
and,
pulling
and
the trigger?
yeah, it never should have been a
Does that
cop issue in
justify
the
No, it
first
pulling the
doesn't.
place.
trigger?
This never should have been. Cops should
Yeah.
have never had to deal with mentally ill people.
But
And now
but
you guys are getting.
yeah.
And so with that's what we're looking for. We're looking to change
Listen,
that. But
listen.
now you guys want to
I
like
don't
fuck
think-
all these cops where it was their fucking issue 5
Listen,
fucking years ago.
I don't think
Like,
us as a I don't
they
think the
had to deal with
government
that
should be
shit.
I don't think the government should be responsible for controlling everyone's mental health. I think everyone kind of goes on their own path like by themselves, and it just so happens that the online and like isolated, those mental issues are going to happen regardless. It's not the government's fault. It's not it's just
It is.
it's just the way it is right now, right? So I think it's the blame is on the cops, right? It can't be on society for making this
Okay, well,
guy
no,
mentally ill.
that's I think that's where you guys misunderstood me. Yes, it is most definitely a larger issue. But it is that like the specific issue is yes, it's a mental health in general isn't. People who suffer from mental health problems aren't given resources they need. Yes, but like mental health in that case, like he was like in that case, his mental health issues were being criminalized. You know what I'm saying? Like it, like justification
Right.
for him being shot. And when you
I see
say,
what you're saying.
and when you're saying, oh, he was mentally ill, like it's you're defending why. Like I know.
Just pointing out the way we see mental illness is not the way we should be looking at it, right? Like we see it as like a disease or like a problem when it's really just like it's something that needs to be like treated. But how would you attack the mental illness problem in this world? You know, if you were in a position of power and you were in charge to allocate funds, what would you do? Because like for me, it's like whenever I get stressed or like I'm not mentally, that you know, I'm gonna go on a run. I'm gonna do some breath work. I'm gonna try and eat healthy, not eat shitty food. So what is the government responsible for when it comes to mental health? You know?
Yeah, treat mental health as a not a criminal problem, and
I agree.
It's defunded the police. I mean, it's use those funds somewhere else. Some of them somewhere else preventative.
I
You know
think
what I'm
police.
saying?
I think police should be better trained to really. I mean, what Skyhawk said before is de-escalate situations. Like, right? It's not all about coming in with your guns hot and flaring. It's about approaching this individual. Okay, this guy's gonna be freaked out. He's gonna be freaked the fuck out because cops are here, and he's already having a mental episode. So you're just making it worse. So like, I think the cops need to come into this, kind of like empathize with this person and try and get him on the right path rather than chasing him down and detaining him and like, does he have a weapon? Put down your weapon, put down your weapon, put down your weapon. Like, you know, like,
Yeah, we all agree with that.
yeah, I
But,
know.
like,
Sorry, I didn't have anything that controversial.
you know,
Bad.
it's like we all agree with that. I just think that it's up to the officers that never had that training. The officers don't have the mental health training that they have.
Mental health. I think some of these police officers might be
Oh, a
going
little
through
bit
some
mentally.
mental
Well,
health too.
considering that like half of them beat their wives, I would say so.
Yeah. I mean, at the end of the day, you choose to be a police officer.
Right.
So like,
I think a lot of police officers kind of got bullied in high school, and they need that power.
That's where that's.
Because like, what makes someone want to be in that type of
Bro,
position
that's a
of power?
great question, bro.
You know?
That's a great
To
question.
get a
Like-
motorcycle and a gun, maybe.
To get it, yeah, bro.
Answer
Exactly.
is
It's like holding
do their
the
parts
fence in a group.
preserve white privilege. Like you're like what you're doing is you are enforcing reinforcing, like when you're a cop, these racist systems. It's what you're doing. Just fundamentally, it's what you're doing. Keeping your community safe is code for what to a white person? What is it code for? Well, just the
Bro,
entire
I'm
notion
scared
of
of any race fucking breaking into my fucking door.
baloney.
Yeah,
Baloney.
no, that's so true, bro. From a tweaker in Chico, dude.
I
In
mean,
Chico,
We'll
they
talk about-
like you want I would never bring it's
regardless,
tweakers I'm worried
if someone,
about, not
if someone breaks into your
like
house or someone's trying to
like
kill you, you're gonna
you
call
care
the
what
cops.
fucking race they are,
Yeah.
like
Yeah, but it's
No,
the
most
fact that
of
like
us-
it's the fact that you
I
see
think-
someone
I think
walking
we
down the
all-
street in the middle of the night, and if the person is like a
look
person of color,
sketch.
well, how what does look?
People that look sketch as shit.
What does that
There's
mean?
this is
It's pretty obvious
so this
when
is
people are
interesting.
It's
sketch
pretty
as
obvious
shit.
what it means, Adarsh.
So
you would
being
know, you would
sketch,
feel
being
it too.
sketch, right? When I think
don't
of being
know,
sketch,
man.
I think of
being
being
sketch
out
is
of the
just
norm,
a
right?
thinly veiled way of
It's
saying
being
not white.
it's something that you're not recognizing,
Dirty.
right?
No way. That's not. No.
I'm talking like, bro, in Walnut Creek, California, if you see someone being sketch in your neighborhood, what are the odds that person is white?
Bro, Josh Ayers got the cops called on him when he was like 16 years old for like fucking looking for outlets around John's house. And then
Dude,
John's mom had to
dude.
talk to the cops. Bro, it's ridiculous.
I hate
Walnut Creek
Josh, bro.
Police.
I honestly hate Josh. I always
Bro,
forget.
that's one of the major
Smoking
throwbacks
weed at my
right
birthday
there.
party, getting the cops called
Okay,
at my house.
I was an influence.
I hate you
in
for that too,
Yeah.
Lucas. I hate you
Hey
just a little
man,
bit.
I hate
We
you
just
for
all
losing
saw
that
you.
grinder, man.
We just all saw
guess
you
what?
walk away.
Guess what, Lib?
Most
Guess what
stupid thing
grinder
someone's
you're
ever
using
done in
right
guy-
now?
I don't, dude. My parents have
Not
that.
everyone's walking
I
out.
don't. I've only
No,
been
that was
dabbing.
actually like
I've
the
only
most
been
stupid
dabbing.
thing. Like, remember, there's
I want that
literally
grinder
three
back.
big
Go
glass.
get it from my parents anytime.
Nah, if Ken's using it,
Knock
that's
on the
all
door.
I need.
He's probably not. He's probably just sitting there.
That grinder's just chilling right now. What the fuck?
Yeah, go get it, man. There's nothing stopping you.
So I
Knock
can
on
take
the door.
apple
I think you
bowls?
left
Like,
it.
what?
You think you left it there?
I did it because I felt bad about losing your grinder.
Well, I don't smoke Kush anymore. I only take dab.
Well, you know what? I
Hey,
wish you told me.
It's in my. It's
that.
somewhere. My dad has it, dude. I swear to God,
Also,
my dad
Will
has
As
it.
long as it's
Gavin, when the
safe, dude. I
fuck are
bet
we gonna
Kenny
get some
loves
rank
that
matches
grinder.
in?
I think Calvin's playing right now.
Bro, I need to grind in FIFA a little bit tonight.
Fuck
Gotta
you,
qualify.
Will.
I gotta,
Fuck you.
Are we playing
gotta
League
get
of
these rewards.
Legends?
Will,
They're
you're
waiting
such a
for you, Lib.
thief. You literally texted yesterday that you're almost a gold.
Are you not playing it,
but then
Arsh?
nothing else.
I'm playing some Valorant. I'm kind of
Yeah, I know.
feeling recently.
I know.
Bro, if we need a fifth and you're playing Valorant, I'll be salty.
I think we should wrap it up.
Great podcast. I love it.
Great podcast. Yeah, lots of spirited debate.
Not what I'm
Great
gonna do.
podcast.
Was gonna play FIFA.
Can someone pick a Madden team for me to play as?
Like a good team,
I don't know
and
what's your
I've been
average.
playing
favorite.
Will, I've been playing high key with the Bills.
The
actually.
Titans,
Right,
bro.
you've been
Just
playing with
cheese with Derrick
Bill.
Henry.
Those are a
DJ
good
Manuel.
Madden team. Play
Dude,
with the
I go
Browns.
QB draw with Josh Allen. So sneaky fast, especially as my fantasy quarterback this year. Last year, oh my god.
Lamb, Browns or Cardinals?
Dude,
Titans.
people play as the Browns a lot. Actually,
People
it's
cheese with
crazy.
Derrick Henry as the Titans. I feel like that's the thing.
Yeah, but I like to
No way. I just
Go
got
fuck-
3 key
Playing with other good
fragments. Next
the
versus
Seahawks
Minions.
are the best.
No way.
Good night.
That's sick.
Love you.
All right.
All right, peace.
All right, y'all.
All right, y'all. Great podcast. Frequency 43.
That was a great podcast.
Calvin, you're muted. Yeah, unmute
Yeah, I
yourself.
know. I was muted. I was like, great
Alright.
podcast.
Great energy, everyone. Except
Great
Nicola. What the
energy.
fuck are you?
Bro,
in or
I
are
was
you
going
out?
in and
Are you
out.
in or are you out on the podcast? What's going on with
I was-
you? I'm just
Do you
joking.
wanna
I'm just
All right,
joking.
guys.
I want to hear you.
Are you
take.
gonna cause another? I'm down. Let's see.
All right, okay. We talked about Alec mentioned something
Who's
about
with?
urban farming,
Okay.
right?
What'd he say?
Do you want to rewind like that, like
Is-
15 minutes ago?
Okay.
like
okay.
that.
I
Okay.
totally agree with it. It's a great idea, but it's impossible to shift the system and people's like way of life. But then at the same time, like that farming idea wouldn't work because or anything like fucking crop famines or anything. What do? Rely on the next community's food source, and then they're shorted because they have to feed you. Like there's so many reasons why the system we have now functions, but it's not perfect. Like it's really hard to make things work perfectly.
Yeah. What happens when we run out of like the people delivering the soil for like us to grow our individual crops and shit? Like the
And-
economy. Yeah, I don't know.
And
Yeah, you're right. What
it's
happens when we
all
can't
about-
exploit work?
the small
I don't know how to grow my own food.
shift.
Fuck.
And so
Pretty
and that
easy.
kind of starts with
Yeah,
Yeah, but
it's
you have to
not-
buy all this
Not
shit.
easy.
that
I
gets-
mean,
Not easy. What are you talking
What?
about?
Yeah, what
I
the
just heard you put it in fucking seeds in the ground.
You try and grow a tomato. Grow a tomato.
Well,
Calvin.
I
It
think-
takes a
okay,
long time to grow. a
I
tomato.
think that growing one like plant is pretty easy, and then you grow a lot of them. But if you want to like sustain yourself, you gotta like do crop rotation and shit, and like change the soil and all
exactly. And who wants to be who only live on the East Coast? Like
that. It's true.
we've become so comfortable with variety and all that sort of stuff, and that's what globalization has done for us. So like there.
It's true, man. We can get
At
food
the
from
same
Mexico,
time,
Asia.
we
can
only
just
have
get different
50
types
more
of vegetables.
seasons of
Like
of
you're not going to be having
crops.
bananas anymore if you
Yeah.
decide to be growing your own stuff. Like I do think that like it's a great thing, and like we should start doing that more, but we can't like shift to that.
Can't
like,
100% rely on it. Yeah.
Right. Because what Nicola did bring up. Because what happens when shit hits the fan? What do we
And-
eat when shit hits the fan?
Like,
I'm gonna be
Shut up.
hunting. I'm gonna be hunting something.
and Rourke and I were chatting about like government. Bro, there has to be like market regulation because like
Can you be more specific?
markets can't
Wait.
regulate
Who
themselves.
said
Like you
there
learn that
shouldn't
in
be
econ.
market regulation?
Yeah. Wait. What?
Bro, there should
Free market,
absolutely be
baby.
market regulation. What happens when
Yeah. I
interest
think
rates
we're all
go
on the
through
same
the roof?
page.
No.
They're like-
You're
Yeah,
no,
if there's
for
not,
sure.
then that just causes monopolies.
fuck?
and Shit.
Republicans
Aw.
love not having.
Kill-
All right. Well.
All right. That was a great.
That was
Yeah,
a
I'm
great
sorry.
take,
Yeah, I'm
Nicola.
sorry to like fucking the conversation right before we're all about to leave. But just education
Good,
first.
good takes.
That's where it starts.
No, that was good. Good energy. I like
Great podcast.
I like getting everyone involved too. Hopefully I wasn't like over shouting everyone.
No,
Um,
I enjoyed this. It was a little bit chaotic. but-
Yeah. I'm glad. As long as everyone gets kind of their 2 cents on what they're I think it's great. I think you guys are great.
All right.
All right, well,
Great.
cheers to a good night, gentlemen.
Might have to take my
Cheers.
last dab on frequency 43 for the
I
night.
want to play Apex.
Alec, you need to download League of Legends.
John, is that new or are you
I'm
were
gonna
in the
play
same
a game
one?
where I have to click
new?
5,000 times.
Same
It's
one?
Stupid.
Mm.
It's new.
I can't click. I'm sorry.
Oh, Blue Cave?
You guys want to watch a pack
Voltage.
opening?
It was a
Fuck yeah.
Yeah.
Alright, I'm about to end the
Definitely.
recording.
Come on,
Hey.
baby.
Wait, I want to see the pack opening.
Okay, I
Yeah,
always
something
end
good.
I always end the podcast saying eat your fruits and vegetables. So
Is
don't
it
forget to eat
walkout?
your
Eat
fruits
your
and
fruits
vegetables.
What horse shit? Isn't that just...
Wait, was someone else recording that?
Yeah, I did.
Alright, thank God.
Oh, Darsh. I have one job.
It said record.
Wait.
All right,
Is
I'm gonna
this-
stop the
wait,
recording.
wait. Is this podcast episode gonna be different than the first two? Are you guys gonna actually have our our
Dude,
Why
we should try and
is
I
figure
mean,
that
it
out.
wasn't isn't the last one on video?
There's
Yeah.
something you
No,
don't
they
want
haven't.
shown.
No, it wasn't.
It's
We
been the
need it on
No,
video.
I'm talking about episode 3.
Don't put this video up. No, just the audio.
Why?
Why?
No, no,
As
no.
Alex says
no.
with his face.
I agree.
As Alex says
Don't
with his
put this on
face.
the
and,
internet.
I think
right
it should be on the
fucking-
internet
Bro,
with
it has to be.
video,
No, no,
1080.
Not get
Should
canceled. No, I'm
Oh, we're
serious.
definitely putting
I
it
just-
video.
No.
We're definitely
trying
putting
Sorry.
it
Hey,
video.
what you say?
100%.
What
Bro,
you
if
say?
you're not
you
trying
have
to get canceled,
accept when the whole
exactly, you
world
gotta
say it.
embrace it, bro. If
You
you
have
don't
to-
want
100%. Own up to it.
You have-
This is frequency
to be
43.
canceled for
You
showing
Your
gotta-
dick was
You
on
gotta
this.
own your cheeks, bro.
John, your
Own
dick
up
was
to
on
it.
this,
Yeah,
bro.
own
They
your
were dark,
cheeks.
bro.
Why people put
And
their
I-
dicks
I was
everywhere
thinking
nowadays,
long-
bro?
Basically, taking
More
long-
power to my dick. More power
No,
to
guys,
it.
no,
Never
this
fucking
can't
know.
go out. No.
Nah.
I'm gonna have to bribe you guys. Only
going on?
audio.
Yeah,
Yeah,
rest in peace.
no,
everyone.
no, no,
You
no, no.
signed.
No,
You
you can't
signed the waiver before you
It's
did the
AIDS to
podcast.
extract the
No, I
audio.
didn't. Then
Yeah,
I
You
but
signed-
California's a
It's
one
no
step.
fun.
California's a one party can be under it.
I
Yeah, I mean, maybe next time we can
No,
use
we're over
video,
21 in
but-
California, bro.
Still, bro, my political career ends right there.
Do you
bro.
imagine, dude? I was thinking about becoming a politician one day, and they're gonna ask me. They're gonna like, so there's a rumor on the street that you smoked weed in high school, and like in my mind, I'm like, good goddamn, I smoked weed in high school. I know you want your leaders to smoke weed. Get a little interest.
Answer to the press is
John
gonna
actually
be like,
has an OnlyFans.
Barack Obama smoked weed as a
Yeah,
child. I'm the
that's
next
what I'm
president.
gonna be like. They're gonna be like, did you, Mr. Lamb, smoke weed while you were in high school?
Yeah.
I'd be like, good goddamn, I was taking fat bong rips and then just mic drop
Good
it.
I'm
God.
And then
gonna
the
be in
public
front of
would
the-
love it. The
I'm
public
gonna
would
be in
love
front of the
it.
Senate.
No,
and they're gonna be
good
like,
golly gosh.
Legalize
darn,
bong
damn.
rips as fast as possible.
All
Yeah.
right, Sean.
Oh,
I gotta go. I
I'm
gotta
gonna
go.
be on the
Globally.
Senate
Alright, well-
floor, and they're gonna be interrogating me, and they're gonna
Peace out, Reader.
be like, you can go Jewel Pod junior year, and I'm gonna be like, I plead the fifth.
Is
I
it true
plead
that
the
your
fifth.
cheeks were
Senior
shown on
year,
episode
senior
4?
year.
This is episode 5. Don't get it twisted.
Yeah, is it true your cheeks were
Audio
shown on episode?
only.
Bro, is episode 4 video?
No.
Actually, this might be episode 6. This might be episode 6. It depends. It depends whether or not I combine this with the first
video one.
the first like 20 minutes of us talking. So this is
I don't-
either gonna be part 2 of episode 5 or it's
I don't
think
gonna
that
be
was
nothing.
tough.
6. So that's
All
where
right.
we're at right now.
Peace.
All right, guys. Great conversation.
All right. I will
Yeah.
see you guys on the
Deuce.
next frequency.